Yeah, so my name is Flo, and I am a data engineer, basically an on-chain data engineer, and also the founder of Chain4. So I would just like, let me keep sliding. So I would jump straight to the question a whole lot of people ask every time, which is, what is Web3? Um, and I know for a very long time, a whole lot of people, especially folks here, would have been like having these several questions on their head. How is Web3 different from Web2? What is the whole idea behind this Web3? And is it totally, different? Is there something unique about it? While I came into the space way back 2015, 16 to 2017 era, there was no name like Web3. So at the time, there are people like Evan Duffy of Dash, people like John Bratton of Park Global, and all these guys that we worked with way back 2017, 18, 19. They were already making, like a huge wave as of then, but there was nothing like Web3, but we were really actually functioning in the Web3 space. So we're just known as, the crypto people and, the blockchain folks as of then. But we were basically fitting at the Web3 space. And then now everybody is now talking about, the present generation and now basically talking about, Web3 constantly, and then it now looks like something way different. But if you have ever worked within the internet space, you have ever operated or interacted with a website, you have at least gotten an idea of what Web3 is. Web3 basically is just a decentralized internet. It's the difference between Web2 and Web3 is not the fact that with Web2, all of the data are centralized. And then with Web3, all of the data are decentralized. So you see me, talking about, static websites, not really static websites, before this, we also have a whole lot of like dynamic websites, but just the problem here is that it's centralized. Even till now, a whole lot of like companies to talk about the fact that they are Web3, and in reality, they are Web2. The last time AWS server got down, we saw a whole lot of Web3 companies, also shut down, which are the so-called Web3. So that's like, so the first thing I'm trying to like clear your mind off is that you're not coming into a space where you need to be highly technological or I need to know this, I need to know that before I can, work in the Web3 space. It's just basically data scattered all over in different places. And so you don't have a central point of failure where we can say, oh, if AWS shut down, then the entire internet is shut down. And that's what happened when AWS had a problem the last time. For those who don't know AWS, forgive me. But yeah, when AWS, many of the websites servers are basically run, most of the web applications basically are run with AWS. So the last time they shut down, a whole lot of websites went up, and that's what Web3 is trying to solve. We don't want a situation whereby every of our data is in one person location. That if this person shut down, then everybody's off. That's not what we want. We want to make sure that if AWS shut down, the data should be routed to the next person available. And the next person shut down, and now should be routed to another. So that's basically how decentralization works. It's just people scattered all over the world and adding the same data at the same time. So yeah, I don't want to make this too technical for those who are not too into development and all that stuff. But so why does Web3 matter? Web3 basically gives it empowers operation and users. And when we say empower operation, it basically gives you the power not to really be controlled by a central form of authority. It gives you the power not to be controlled by a single government. So we have seen people use Web3 technology like Bitcoin, USDT, USDC during crisis. Even in places like Pakistan, even during the Nigeria protest, the major protest we had then, the NSAS protest, we saw how the protest was basically funded using Bitcoin, because at the time, CBN started shutting down every account that had transacted with any cryptocurrency platform. So if you have received money from Binance, they were shutting it down. So at the end of the day, we needed the people money. We needed the money that cannot be controlled. That even if you shut down the internet, you cannot still shut down crypto. and that's how powerful it is. People like Jack Dorsey created a BitLock, which is a Bitcoin wallet that can be used using Bluetooth. So I can go to a place, a village, and I can actually send Bitcoin from myself to anybody around the world. It basically uses what we call a mesh technology, but I don't want to also go too deep into that. But how it works, that I can literally send Bitcoin for myself to the next person, to maybe a vendor or anybody that is receiving Bitcoin. And even when there is no internet, as soon as I move to a place where there's internet, the Bitcoin confirms on chain, but the person receives the money at once. So we might, if we have time, we'll talk about double spending. We talk about all of Bitcoin protocols if there's time. And as I said earlier, and I'll keep repeating, I don't want to make this too complicated. But as I said, it empowers users and also empowers corporations. So a whole lot of organizations, a whole lot of NGOs, a whole lot of what are they calling? What will I call them? So that's a socialist movement or human rights movement around the world have been using cryptocurrency to solve basic issues when they have been against, especially political movements. Have been using cryptocurrency to basically solve, push up their project and do their stuff without being totally controlled. So yeah, and again, it removes middlemen. So there's no, as I said earlier, there's no central point of failure. So there is nothing like a middleman. I don't need a middleman. It's totally P2P, peer-to-peer. People to people. I have Bitcoin, you have Naira, you give me Bitcoin, I give you Naira. I don't need to send the money. I don't need to send my money to one central escrow system and then wait for somebody to do it. I don't need all of those stuff. So cryptocurrency or Web3 entirely is created to remove that middleman. So when platforms like the middleman that cryptocurrency removed was what people what are calling it, exchanges like Binance, like Luno, which are custodial based exchanges. When we say custodial, we're saying that you have to entrust your finance, or you have to entrust your cryptocurrency to a particular host. So for people who are using Binance, who are using Luno, who are using Bybit, they are literally entrusting your cryptocurrency to them. So when Binance was operating there, they had to use, they had to channel their processing, their payment processing to people like Flutterwave, people like Paystack. And because of that reason, when CBN just brought out a policy, it was able, as soon as they remove Flutterwave, remove Paystack from being able to transact cryptocurrency, then automatically they shut down all of those exchanges. So that is exactly what cryptocurrency or what Web3 is basically fighting against. That middleman. We don't want that middleman. We want to be able to create a people-to-people type of system. So it also enables borderless transaction. If you look at the amount of money that people spend when they have to send money, probably before now, if you want to send money from Nigeria to like maybe US or to any other country, sometimes you think, I remember when I was working with Park Global, they used to pay me by Gusto and TransferWise. I don't know if anyone here have used TransferWise. They're called Wise now, but then it used to be called TransferWise. There's also Pioneer and a whole lot of those guys then. Whenever they send my money, my payment through, they send my money and my payment through TransferWise, it takes 7 business days for me to receive the money. At the time, they reduced it to like, I think about 4, it's like sometimes as little as $500, it's going to wait for 7 days. But cryptocurrency created an instant transaction. Now, Flutterwave is already talking with what's the name of they're talking with Polygon Lab now to integrate stable cryptocurrency on their platform, which allows people now to be able to send money across the world and anybody will receive it instantly. So that's the sweet aspect of cryptocurrency. Again, that enable cross-border transaction at an instant rate. So now I can send Bitcoin now and you receive it in 1 second. I can send USDT now and you receive it. That's like the sweetness of all of this. I know you people are waiting for that awesome part where you talk about how do you make the money, how do you do all of that. But yeah, but you need to have like a solid fundamentals on Web3s. I would like to see like a thumbs up or you guys should use the emoji to be sure that everyone is still with me and you're still hearing. Okay, awesome. Thanks. So we're also going to like provide new earning opportunity. So And I know that's where a whole lot of people are interested. What are the opportunities within, the Web3 space? So you start hearing people talk about DeFi. You start hearing people talk about NFTs. You start hearing people talk about DAO. Who else here have interacted with a DAO network? If you have interacted with a DAO, can you? Okay, I think so. I'll work out that I've interacted with a DAO here. So you hear people talk about DAO. DAO is basically a decentralized autonomous organization. And what is it really saying? Some of these things are English, so I'll break it down as easy as possible. It is an organization that is not centralized. As I told you earlier, that the main aim of Web3 is to be able to remove that centralization. I don't want a system that if Alfred is no longer here, EvolveHQ cannot work. We don't want that system. We want a system that Alfred says, my internet is down now, and he shut down his computer, then all of us are not out of the system. My computer can easily pick up from there. Or if Alfred says tomorrow, I want to rest for 4 days, EvolveHQ can still be running. So that is what we want. We want a decentralized Alfred. We want Alfred to exist in multiple locations, working at multiple times. That even when one is down, nobody knows. Right? So that is what a DAO is. DAO now created an organization. Yeah, I think all of these questions can come later. I don't know if that can work for me. So yeah, so it doesn't distract my flow. So DAO created an organization or a company. If you work with any company, work with UB, you work with First Bank. Imagine now that you guys don't have to see. You guys are totally decentralized. You are in several places. You don't need to have physical bank location, but you're just in several places and you're operating from those places. You guys vote for decisions that need to be made. You vote for how your money can be spent. You vote for who receives the money. You vote for how promotions are going. You vote for who is receiving salary and who is not receiving. For all of my life, I work with DAOs. I work with decentralized organizations for all of my life, and I don't have a boss. The way Alfred is my boss now, I don't use to have the boss. I don't have somebody that I can say, oh, I'm answerable to this person. I have a group of people that I don't know that I'm answerable to, and I'll show you an example of my DAO, that some of my proposals that I've raised within DAO space that I've worked with. Then we now talk about decentralized finance. People hear about decentralized finance. What's DeFi? What's DeFi? What's DeFi? And if you have ever interacted with USDT here, or you have interacted with any DApp, any decentralized application like PancakeSwap, or any of these decentralized exchange, you've actually interacted with a DeFi. If you have done saving on chain, where you actually need to be saving your money on the blockchain, or you have actually I wouldn't say if you have bought, so a whole lot of us here would have bought cryptocurrency, but most of the time we bought those cryptocurrency on a centralized exchange. So we might not have interacted, but it's just basically fintech that is decentralized. So the way Flutterwave, Paystack, Global, and any other of all these, did I call Global? Sorry. Yeah, Paystack, Flutterwave, which other fintech firms? All of the fintech firms we have in Nigeria. Now imagine that they are operating on the blockchain. They basically have a DApp, decentralized application. That's just what it is. So as I said, if you have operated with Uniswap, with SushiSwap, with PancakeSwap, all of these platforms that are calling a DeFi. We also have DeFi's like Coop is also a DeFi based platform. The platform I'm operating is also a DeFi based platform. So we basically are like the cowrie-wise, but we decentralize it. So unlike the way cowrie-wise operates, we operate exactly the way cowrie-wise operates, but we are basically decentralized. So we're also a fintech DeFi firm. So then we now talk about NFT, non-fungible tokens. I know you have seen a whole lot of artists talking about their NFTs that they sold for. There was a time it was a big trend. You see photographers in Nigeria take good shots and then they post it, they put it on an NFT-based platform and sell it. So it's just a non-fungible token. And basically you start seeing stuff like non-fungible token, you see stuff like RWAs, where you can basically tokenized assets. And that's what you start hearing from next year, next year. You start hearing about tokenized assets, RWAs, where people can now, I can own a house in Lagos, and then I'll tokenize that house in a way whereby anybody around the world can basically buy a portion of that house and make profit from every time the tenants in those houses pay to me. So tokenization will be like a big blow for 2026 and 2027, where you start having a whole lot of tokenized technology. So people can say, oh, someone like the video can say, I want to release my album, I want to tokenize my album. In the sense that before my album comes out, I want to sell a token version of the album. And then I'm going to share 50% of whatever profit I make from my album to anybody that has a tokenized version of my album. So it's just basically taking a physical asset and then putting it on chain. So it's more like a representation of that asset on chain. So there are a whole lot of platforms like Chainlink that are basically doing that. As I said, you can own a house in Lagos, and then I'll say, okay, I want to build a house in Lagos. I bought the land, but I don't have money to set up the entire house. But I want to build like 5 to 10 bedroom, 5 to 10 bedroom flats, and I'll be giving it out for rent. I want people to buy a tokenized version of this house. I'll drop the plan. People see the plan, they will click and buy it. You know, and when they decide to buy that, when they decide to buy that tokenized version of the house, when I'm receiving my rent from my tenants, 50% of that will be going to anybody that have bought the tokenized version of the house even before I built the house. So presently there are platforms like Votoro that are doing tokenized version of gold. So now people own virtual golds that they cannot hold in their hand, but they have bought it, you know, online, and then they just have like a tokenized version. They can't see it in real life how the golds are being explored and everything, but they don't own it in their hand. So what they have is a tokenized version of that gold. So they pay, and when those gold are extracted, whatever amount you can actually sell your gold to online. You know, I've been using Votoro for a very long time. So it's always another Tether also operates, even USDT, people who have operated USDT or USDC, is also a tokenized version too. You know, so but for non-fungible tokens are basically physical assets that are also tokenized. You know, so people can have hats, people can draw stuff and put it up. If you go to most of those NFT platforms where people sell their art, it's mostly pictures, mostly, you know, drawing, graffiti, you know, sometimes it's just baby, you know, most of the big cyberpunk NFTs that we're seeing are just very useless things. People have sold banana for millions of dollars. People have sold fingers, people have sold different stuff, you know, different stuff. Some might go like so bad that I won't be able to talk about here. But yeah, but NFT was a big blow last 2 years. You know, almost all Nigerian photographers had their own NFT tokens, you know. But NFT have moved also into DAO. So there are a whole lot of decentralized autonomous organizations that will create an identity card for you in NFT. Yeah, so I don't also want to like or the digital ownership is also what I talked about RWAs, which are basically tokenized versions of any physical assets. So yes. Okay. So before you transition into Web3, what are the most important steps that you should take? You need to understand blockchain. You need to understand the blockchain. You need to have a basic understanding about blockchain technology. So I will basically tell you guys about the average salary you're going to earn. I'm going to talk about how extremely benefiting it was for me and for a whole lot of other people, and what you also get to gain if you can transition into Web3. Mind you, whatever you are doing now is a Web3 version of it. Whatever you are doing now, there is a Web3 version of it. You know, so if you're a graphic designer, there are graphic designers that only design for Web3 platforms. If you're a content creator, there are content creators that only do content in Web3. If you are an educator, there are educators like me that only talk about Web3. I don't know anything in my head, you know, more than Web3. I studied computer science. I did artificial technology also in school. But all of this time, I had spent all of my life just talking about Web3 and really just being in the space. So whatever you think that anybody is doing presently, trust me, if you do a whole lot of research, you just get to know that, oh, there's somebody doing this in the Web3 space. So you understanding the blockchain technology beyond me just saying, oh, it's a decentralized internet, is to really understand what are the type of blockchain, the private blockchain, the public blockchain. How do you use blockchain to verify information? How are blockchains being used in several parts of the world? How do countries that use blockchain? There are countries that have actually used blockchain for voting. When now we will not be shouting that, okay, we'll not start shouting about the fact that, oh, Tinubu did not win, it's Obi that win, Obi did not win, it's Atiku that won. You could have a real-time information about voting using the blockchain. That it is, the blockchain is basically, you hear people talk about the fact that the blockchain is something you cannot edit. There is no edit in the blockchain. So whenever an information it's immutable. So whenever an information happens on the blockchain, it is stored for life. I could show you transactions I've done way back, 2017, 2018, whatever I've done within this space for how long I've been in the space, I could show you. They are there. They will always be there forever. So, and I can't go back and say I want to adjust it. I can't edit it. So that's the beauty about blockchain. But it's just beyond you getting to know. You need to know about the types of blockchain on ground. How you need to know how Bitcoin Explorer works, from Ethereum Explorer, from a whole lot of other chains like Polygon. What you hear people talk about ERC20 tokens, you hear people talk about a whole lot of you see me talking about tokenized versions, you see me talking about DeFi, but I'm just saying it on because these are stuff that takes time to understand, and it's not something you just get to know at once like that. So you need to learn the also wallets. But trust me, these are not like you're not going to spend 20 years learning these things. Just with a 4 or 5 month course, you're good. Even as small as 1 month course to give you like a little bit of fundamentals. So you can learn about wallets. You need to learn. It's not like you need to learn how the wallet works. You need to learn how the wallet works. You need to learn first how blockchain works. Then you need to also learn how the wallet. So earlier I talked about double spending, and double spending is something that people who know about cryptocurrency and about blockchain. Okay, so sorry, Evolve, you could.
Yeah, so sorry for disrupting. So sorry for disturbing. Great, you're doing a great job. Please, can we use the sticker to appreciate Mr. Juwon for the great work he has been doing regards to this. I just want to mention this. Thank you very much for that. I can see our sticker. So I dropped a poll. Don't worry, Emmanuel, you're going to ask your question, but no, please. So I dropped a message, not poll, rather. I dropped the message via the chat section, and we're looking to have a Web3 training starting on the 29th of this month. So you can go there, the chat section, read about it, and click to join. We will also be offering you a Black Friday sales. I would like you to stay to the end of the section so that I can tell you more about the section. So sorry for disrupting once more. Please just check the chat section. I've pinned the message, so it is pinned so you can read more about it and click the link to join ASAP today. So over to you, sir, so that I don't take much of your time. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. Also, let me know when time
okay.
I need. Yes.
Okay. So we can do like 28 minutes more. 28 minutes more before I address everybody. Then we can now call it a day. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Awesome. So yeah. So I was talking about double spending, where you need to also understand the wallet, and you hear people say the. I know some of you have not. At way back 2019, 2020, there were a whole lot of double spending issues happening then, where I could send Bitcoin to you with a low fee and double spend that Bitcoin, and then you get to lose your money. So I really want to go too deep into that, but yeah, that's also, and it's for people who understand how cryptocurrency work, that if you send me Bitcoin now, if I don't get up to 20 confirmation on the blockchain, I will not release any funds to you. So these are stuff you also need to know so that you don't get scammed with that. You also need to have a proper fundamental. How do you interact with Uniswap? How do you interact with the dApp? You need to know what are the platforms that are safe platforms that are well trusted, like Uniswap, SushiSwap, and Kickswap, and all of these guys. You also need to know about the DAO, this decentralized autonomous organization. So that you can be able to know, like, presently the Nigerian government are creating a blockchain policy that calls every cryptocurrency a security, which is actually and that's what many of the stakeholders in the blockchain space are challenging with the government at the moment, because they actually tag every cryptocurrency and every Web3 cryptocurrency as a security, which is not true. Because we have community-based tokens, we have DAO-based tokens, and they are not security. So if you belong to a community, the community can decide to create its own cryptocurrency and say, if you don't have this cryptocurrency, you cannot interact with us. You cannot interact with our DAO. So, and that is not a security. I'm not telling you to come and buy this cryptocurrency and wait for it to come. I'm saying if you want to talk to me, you need to own this cryptocurrency. So there was no reason for the Nigerian government to put that under security token and tell us to pay roughly about 30 million naira to register it. So these are also, protect yourself against fraud. How do you protect yourself? How do you make sure? I talked about double spend, which I know a whole lot of people, maybe this is the first time they're hearing about RPF. There are other scams that have been happening, people sending link, people, there are a whole lot of like fraud. In fact, the entire aspect of fraud detection in the crypto space is another department entirely. So that most international government operators actually have a department in charge of this. Like the EFCC in Nigeria also have like an entire department. I don't know if you guys have our consensus. They have been training the EFCC on how to like track cryptocurrency fraudulent activity presently in Nigeria. And that's the way they have been able to like guard a whole lot of like boys into cyber scam and a whole lot of stuff, especially those that are like doing it on a more advanced level, not dating scam. Even with the dating scam too, you can see how Interpol can like basically trace you. You've been wondering how I could a whole lot of people have complained about the fact that maybe they got a cryptocurrency and they want to go and sell it on Binance. And immediately as they deposit the money on Binance blocks their accounts. I've heard about somebody that was in EFCC custody for like almost 4 months or 3 months. Why? They collected $50 worth of cryptocurrency from somebody. And they have been tracing that $50 for a long time. They have been tracing that money for a long time. Immediately as the money got there, they flagged that money, Binance flagged the money, and then reported the guy to Interpol that somebody that, a particular scam that happened for like 4 years or 5 years ago, that was how EFCC came to pick the guy. It was just $50, just $50. There's one of my friends who he has an exchange, so he was with DSS for like almost close to a year. Why? Because he received cryptocurrency also on a Telegram platform. He bought cryptocurrency from a lady from Telegram platform that it was for kidnapping case. So these are stuff you need to start getting to understand how those things work. Why do I need to do KYC? What are the kind of stuff I need to set to? So if someone like Alfred comes to meet me and say, I want to sell, I know you buy and sell cryptocurrency. I want to sell like 1, 2, 3 BTC. I have to do my KYC with him. We have to sign small 2, 3 documents so that if the Nigerian police come tomorrow and say, hey, you bought, hey, look at it. It was a legitimate stuff. I bought this at this time. This is the person that bought it from. Please go and pick him up. So these are stuff you also need to know. What are the legal policies within the space? Then also career paths and how you build confidence investing and applying for job. I don't know if time will permit me, but yes, we'll talk about. So I'll be moving at a very high speed from now. So platforms like EvolveHQ have been like one of the leading African Web3 educational platform for anything Web3, which I'm 100% sure they will deliver value. These are the only guys that I know, not because of having a relationship with Alfred, but it's just on the ground that these are people that have that I know, because me, I've been in this space, as I said, way back 2014, 2015. So, but these are guys that I know that will help you easily transition from Web2 to Web3 safely. So what has been my Web3 journey? As I said, I got to meet someone like Evan Duffy way back 20, I think I met him 2016, 2016 though. Then, cryptocurrency wasn't like the big blow. And I didn't go into cryptocurrency first as a software engineer, but I didn't go into cryptocurrency. And that's one thing I want to, that if there's anything people go away with, is the fact that you don't need to be a tech bro. You don't need to write code. I write code, I do a whole lot of stuff. I'm a data engineer, I do a whole lot of engineering activity. But I did, in fact, the most money I've made in crypto space was not even by writing code. And that's one thing that I want everyone to go away with. If you will not even go away with anything, if you will not remember anything, that do not think that what I know now, I need to start learning anything new. You don't. You just need to how do I say it? You just need to Web3nize. If there's any word like that, whatever you know now, you just need to put Web3 within it, and then just present yourself, package yourself properly. So from being like an ambassador for Dash, I then moved into software engineering. So I was with them throughout within that 2015, 2016, 2017, I was still getting money for doing a whole lot of handling our Discord space, doing a whole lot of meetups. I really need to show you something here. Let me share this stuff. So this is what a DAO looks like. Can you guys see my screen? Can everyone see my screen?
Yes, we can see it.
Awesome. So this is what a DAO looks like. This is Dash. Dash is like one of the first Masterclass coins that ever came out. They came out in 2014, and then the CEO then was like very young, and then we met in Kaduna. He had like a small online event. Then, internet was in way before then. But we had an online event. We invited him to come and speak at our school in ABU's area. He couldn't come, so he did it online. And after then, we just started talking. It was pretty small. They just started. Then that was like $2. That's moved from $2 to $1,500, and then dumped now to like maybe 200 or 300. I can't remember how much that is. But if you look at the dates here, you could see 2018. And then if you come down here, you'll see my name here, This is where I said, even if this word comes to an end, this link will still be existing because it is on their DAO. And this is what a DAO is. It doesn't look different from any fiscal website. It's nothing special. It's not very ugly. So because cryptocurrency is still pretty new. But all of this time, there's nothing like Web3. We don't call ourselves Web3 boys. We're just the blockchain guys. And all I did was I was raising a proposal to them that I'm going to train people in Nigeria on cryptocurrency using Dash. As at this time, I trained over 300 to 400 Nigerian military. In Zaria, in Kaduna, in Katsina. I was going around north there, like training, because then they were doing like peacekeeping in I've forgotten the country they were doing peacekeeping then, and then I was just going around. You could see me. I organized like events. This was me like way back 2017. You could see the dates on some of the pictures here. I was just going around organizing events, making sure doing a whole lot. So as of this time, I wasn't really a developer. But this was my proposal. So I could raise a proposal to a DAO and tell them that they should fund me for doing this particular activity. And then they voted. All of these people, I don't know them from Adams. T-Long, I don't know him. They will use different name, not KDB, because cryptocurrency talk about privacy a lot of time. And all of them have 1,000 of these tokens of them. So if you have 1,000 of Dash, then you become a master node owner, which means that you can vote, you can interact. That's why I was complaining about that the Nigerian government created a cryptocurrency policy that says that every cryptocurrency is a security. But these guys said they didn't buy this cryptocurrency to be a security. They bought it because they want to be able to vote for what is happening within their company. And the company is a decentralized company. So as a then, these are the guys. Some of these people are like my friends, well, like Kanti Stefana. When she left, she actually even was like soliciting for me because they didn't want to vote for me because I was like the first Nigerian like on this place way back 2018. They don't want to vote for me. They had trust issue. They don't, even the fact that EvolveHQ knows, he has spoken to me online, but he hasn't seen me. And the money I was asking for way back then was huge. The money I was asking for way back then, but I still, people were telling me it's going to fail. I said, nah, it's not going to fail. And then I raised it. And after then, I delivered way more than what they expected. And we became very cool. I now became like an ex-school person that basically any Nigerian that wants to raise money on Dash, even since today, they'll call me and say, hey, John, you know this guy? He said he has done this in the crypto space. Yeah, I know him. So these are some of that is like that is how I now moved from there. And then I started interacting with a whole lot of their engineers. They call them pros, and then they started training me on cryptocurrency. And I started training on as a cryptocurrency on software engineering. And then when Ethereum started becoming a team, I started building dApps. And then from there, I moved from being a software engineer to becoming a data engineer. And then I also worked with several operating societies down in Nigeria and also in the US. From Park Global to a whole lot of them like that. So yeah, so this is my story. Beyond the and Dash, I've worked with Park Protocol. I worked with Park Protocol 2022, 2023, and then moved to Smart Cash and did quite a number. In fact, when I was working with Park Protocol, I wasn't even working as an engineer. I was working as their data analyst. Then we don't have Doom, Flipside, and a whole lot of so I was extracting those data. In fact, that was what made me interested in data engineering, because I was literally extracting their data and doing a whole lot of stuff for them, and then I started working with Smart Cash. And from there, I worked with Obra and worked with several other companies. And before I, over time, decided to set up my own company. And then I've made that I don't want to, because of security reasons, I don't want to talk about some of the funds. But I started from $50, $100, and then I moved so much. Even before I raised that proposal, I was doing smaller meetups in Kaduna, because I was one of the in Kaduna. So I was doing smaller meetups in KD, 20, maybe 5-6 people and talk about cryptocurrency, do my videos, post it out there. And my YouTube was, we're using like very small Symbian phone. I don't know if anyone here knows Symbian phone. They're like very small phones that we used to record ourselves, put it on to go and a whole lot of stuff. So yeah, and the system did change, For a long time, I wasn't really in depth into people like Chris Annie, where people we learned from, I paid course for him to train me then. People like Chinese Chuta, people like Loki Wakwe, these guys are like the guys now talking to the government now. They are like the big guys now talking to the government about blockchain. But those are the guys that I actually have to pay to learn deeply about. I was also having like a very shallow knowledge, and then I was not able to centralize myself and say, yeah, now I want to be a software engineer, and yeah, I want to be a data engineer, and then that's how my transition was being. So yeah, so what are the careers in the Web3 space? You could be a blockchain developer. Please, you don't generally have to be, but I wrote it because I operate in this space. But you could be a blockchain. If you are a Web2 engineer, it's easier for you to transition into Web3. In fact, most of the tools we use in Web2 are what we use in Web3. Most of the tools we also use in the data engineering space, like Airflow, what they call it, Rust, any of the languages you guys use, your Python, we just have some basic library tools like, Trello and all of these guys that we just use for extracting information from the blockchain. But it's almost virtually the same thing, to be real. We still use AWS, we still use S3 buckets to dump all of our stuff. We still use everything, Terraform. We just basically click house. I've done a whole lot of ETLs where I use those basic, the same thing. So when people talk about, oh, I'm a on-chain data engineer, I just laugh because many of the things someone out there that doesn't know about blockchain technology will do is still what's I will do. The only difference is that I basically have a better understanding. That's why I said you need to take a fundamental course. I only have a better understanding of how to interact with the blockchain space. I know what I'm basically looking for. I know how to do my conversion. I know how to do a whole lot of stuff. So, but yeah, these are stuff you could basically careers you could move. Be a community manager. As I started first as a community manager, social media manager. I was just managing Discord, creating smaller events. I was not like an event organizer. I was doing a whole lot of event organizing. I was doing a whole lot of like community managing dash Twitter space then. Twitter, I said Twitter space, Twitter accounts then. So you could also do that. You could be a product manager, you could be a cybersecurity expert and transition into the Web3. The only difference, as I said, you just need to have a fundamental or web and start creating projects on it. You could also be a legal compliance specialist. For the company, for our company in Jacob, we have 2 lawyers that are blockchain lawyers, and they have been in the space for, I don't know if anyone knows Fit or Baji here. She stays in Netherlands, and then she was trained here in Nigeria as a lawyer, and then she had transitioned into the blockchain space. That lady collects nothing less than $5,000 at the moment now for any conversation you need to have. But at the time she was running around outside in Lagos and collecting, 5,000 naira to do a whole lot of stuff. So yeah, there's a whole lot of you could be a security auditor. So and these are entry level. You could be a crypto research intern. I've written 2 research on DocDB and then 2 on the Bitcoin chain, and also on Bitcoin and Ethereum chain. So you do that. If I presently applied for another research that was supposed to, I'm waiting for the list by December, which is also basically on Bitcoin, basically on Lightning Network mesh technology. So there are a whole lot of stuff, and it's something people around here also should explore. There have been quite a numbers of research grants. This is the one I'm talking about here, which is also like 1 million Satoshi for the research. So there have been quite a numbers of stuff like this that when you take a course, you'll be able to it's easier for you to now do some of this thing. I don't need to be an expert in research, but I could literally write a whole lot. So with the knowledge I have, with my whole experience, you can be a content writer. We have a whole lot of content writers that work with several blockchain firms. When I was working with Noodle, we had 3 to 4 Nigerians that were content writers. Then with Noodle, when I was working as a data engineer, they were working as a content writer. Community operator, community moderators. So you need to be in-depth. You need to have in-depth knowledge about cryptocurrency for you to be a moderator in any cryptocurrency space. So people will say, "Oh, I lost this. Oh, I'm trying to fork this. I'm trying to interact with this. I'm having a problem with my address. What kind of address is this?" You need to know. You need to know why this is happening. What could the person have done wrong? Did he mistakenly send, for example, did he mistakenly send a Glo recharge card to an MTN line? All those kind of stuff where people can mistakenly send Ethereum token to a Binance chain. So you could be a junior data analyst, you could be a customer support specialist. You could be a growth marketer. You could be an accountant. On the as of which month, this guys, what's their name? IPayBTC was looking for, both IPayBTC and Bitrust was looking for an accountant that has strong knowledge on Bitcoin, that have at least 5 years experience on Bitcoin. So for the person I was asking about accountants, the Bitrust was actually looking for, I don't know if they're 14 now, but they were looking for an accountant that has a strong knowledge on Bitcoin, but is an accountant, because it's different. If you could take all the ideas you have about accountancy and move it into the crypto space. But definitely if I should just meet a normal accountant and say, "Oh, come and make an account for this Bitcoin stuff that we do," you will not be able. But now that the government is about to now put tax on a whole lot of Web3 space now, a whole lot of Web3 society are looking for legal advice or accountants that are very knowledgeable. So we're still pretty early in the space. We're pretty early. Don't look at, "Oh, Joanne been in the space since 2015, 2016. Doesn't mean, we're still very, very early. Very, very early, especially with the new Tinubu policy on cryptocurrency and tax. Now people are looking for a whole lot of Web3 society now, looking for tax folks that knows about the Nigerian tax, and then they can, in fact, many of them are willing to allow you to train you on the blockchain space, so that you can be able to properly make sure that the government don't overtax them, on things that they are not supposed to tax them on. So we have customer support, as I said. So how to get job? These are the things I've talked about. You can apply on crypto, remote to tree, angel list, build proof of work. Yes, you need to build publicly. As I told you guys before, I was able to raise money. I was literally going around Nigeria to different states. You know, I was in Basita Sugar Factory, I was in Kaduna, I was in Christina. I was going around. Some of them I did them with my money. You know, but now the space is big enough that people can apply. So then it wasn't that big, so I had to like do more money to prove that. You could volunteers in DAO, you know, decentralized, so you could tell them, oh, you just enter more space. But yeah, this is not a time you really cannot spend all of this time we're really talking about. What are the entry salary expectation from $800 to $3,000 monthly? I know a whole lot of Web3 writers that are collecting like $500. In Kaduna, because I mostly go to Kaduna because my family is still there. I mostly go there, you know, I'll be working in a whole lot of like workstation, and I'll see a lot of customer care that these guys only resume in the night. You know, anything from like when we were leaving the workstation around that kind of 8, that's when they are just coming because they work with a whole lot of Web3 company that are outside of Nigeria, and then they need to be online. Web3 have moved beyond what it was before that, only Discord and Telegram, that's way. So there are a whole lot of Web3 companies that they want to call. You know, Rivers and really our company, most people will not ask me question on WhatsApp. They want to like call. Especially when you're handling their money, you're a custodial-based platform. People want to call. People want to say, hello, yeah, I'm having a problem. I want to do this. Can you walk me through this? Like today, I've done like 4 demos for people that don't know they are new to cryptocurrency and they want to use my platform to save their cryptocurrency, and they needed me to do that for them. So yeah, so their mid-level roles, $3,600 and $8,000. This might go for like mid-level engineer, I would not say, but I still know a whole lot of like marketers that are extremely like that they position themselves to be like top tier guys, and then they can. I don't know if you guys know. Is it? I've forgotten this guy named Nedu or something. I've forgotten his name. He's presently part of the Solana team in Nigeria, and this guy is really making crazy ass money within the marketing space. He works with Solana alone. Leaks is also there, you know, and they pay their engineers too. They also pay their non-engineer guys very good money. But you know, as for entry and mid-level, you'll not be able to receive like large amounts. But when it comes to senior roles are getting like good money. You know, but when I mean senior roles, I mean like senior accountant in the blockchain space, senior community developer in the blockchain space, product manager, graphic designers. In as much you've been in the space for like 5, 6, 7 years, you get good amount of money. Even while I was not in the space at that time, to receive way more than this. Like if you go and check some of my salary on Dash Central, which is public, you see all of the money I was receiving way back then. You know, talk more, you know, when you start having stuff presently, you know. So it's just you positioning yourself and, you know, doing a whole lot of stuff. So the global aspect, apart from maybe Paystack, I've not really worked with a whole lot of like Nigeria company. And it's kind of like easier for me to like how before I had to now, you know, focus on my own startup. But you know, this is some of the benefits to this thing. More of the people that I know in the space are not even like, I really do not even have strong connection within the Web3 ecosystem. Apart from maybe Annie, Lucky Work, which is the truth that have been my friends before, you know, I've been speaking in their conference way back then, but I stopped for a long time and I just focused on development because, you know, when you're an engineer, the space is moving so fast and you don't have time. You know, it's just now that I'm like spearheading chain cooperative that's making me able to have time. But even with that, I've not even slept well up to now because we had like some few work we needed to do. So because of that, I've not really, but as I said, this is one of these benefits of you being in the Web3 space, that you have opportunity beyond just, oh, I want to work with a Nigerian firm. But now there are a whole lot of like blockchain Web3 firm in Nigeria that are like really paying good amount of money. I pay BTCs there, Mava Pay is there, Cashflyer, Luno, Remitano, a whole even them Bybit and Binance have a whole lot of their engineers that I know that are my friends. A whole lot of like community devs, a whole lot of like content writers. Like Rebecca Asset, she's my friend, and then she works with Binance. This other lady also works with Chimere, or what's her name? She works with Leaks, and she's based here in Lagos, and then she's working with $1 billion company in US. So there are quite a number of Nigerians that are, in fact, Binance have more of Nigerians within their ecosystem. Because then they have Binance Nigeria, they have Binance Africa, and they receive their money in USDT and just like move on. So yeah, so these are the benefits. You get paid in crypto. I've been paid in that. I've been paid in Bitcoin. I've been paid in USDT. And I've also been paid in there. There are times I needed to like route it through Gusto because of tax law in the US. At the time, they weren't able to pay, but now Donald Trump made all those things easy, so nobody's overtaxing them for all those stuffs anymore. So saving in Web3, I would don't know how many minutes I have left. I think like 5 minutes or so. But yeah, so you could also save in Web3, which is something I advise a whole lot of people that want to transition into the crypto ecosystem, that you should try and at least interact with. Because I saw the form and I know that a whole lot of people are beginners, but I think it's good if you can like interact with the space. Try and set up your Bybit accounts, try and set up your account on Forbes, to change over the board, buy cryptocurrency there, transfer it to your wallet, create a wallet, just interact with these things, have maybe like a weekly, monthly buys that you could do on USDT, USDC, just for you to really know how these things work, and know how the space work. You could also stake, you could aim passive income. And this is not a class for that. I will not go into the nitty-gritty on how people get returns. So instead of you just the way you get returns in piggyvest and carrywise, you can also get return on the blockchain space. So yeah, so I would rush through. Yeah, I really don't think there's time for this. But you could how to find the right token to invest in. But I don't think it's an investment class, so I might not really go into this beyond what it is. So how to detect what in Web3, I've talked about this. Unverified contract, no audit, lock liquidity. I really do. I don't think I talked about lock liquidity, but yes, difficult withdrawal, and a whole lot of stuff that will be on the on EvolveHQ Masterclass. This is where they will basically talk about how to audit a contract. You see how to check a contract. You see how to like look into any token you want to invest in and say, oh, this token is a fraud. Oh, this token is not a fraud. Oh, these guys are going to run away with my money. These guys are not going to run away with my money. So stuff like that is what you end up learning when you sign up. So yeah, what else again? So I also don't want to like really go too deep into it, but for me, I've always been the person that talk about Bitcoin alone. So if you go to my social, you see I talk about Bitcoin alone because I work in the Bitcoin space. One, and because Bitcoin is the only cryptocurrency I particularly trust and I hold. And I will have talked about this, no CEO, no central authority. Opportunity, we've talked about this opportunity for professional. We've also talked about for investment, which I just touched a little bit, staking NFT DeFi. For creator, digital ownership, global visibility, these ones are mostly stuff that will go deep into, that you will go into deeply within the course. So the future of Web3, we're still very early. AI and blockchain technology might be the big blow in 2027. And I also talked about tokenized assets. We also dominate in government exploring CBDC stuff. You start hearing a whole lot of like country start creating a tokenized version. The Chinese government wants to create their own crypto, their own currency and tokenize it on chain. Nigerian government did that, but they failed. They did that twice and they failed. So the INERA is one aspect of their own government exploring. USDT is owned by US. But a whole lot of company, I think, a whole lot of company have been creating a whole lot of their CBDC kind of their own stuff. But yes, so final word, class more, learn daily, live globally. You don't need to understand everything. I didn't understand everything. I still do not understand everything today. So there's still a whole lot of time that people talk to me about Web3, and I'm like, oh, which one be this one? Like I sincerely would just say, basically, I don't understand this thing. So yeah, I don't know if there's any question, but yeah, thank you so much, guys.
So are we taking the question one after the other? Or how are we asking the question?
I don't know if what's his name is on ground. Alfred, is Alfred here? I don't think he's here anymore. That's strange. Let me see if I can contact him. But yes, I think we will take it one after the other, pending when it comes back. But I don't know why he's not here. Strange. Let me call him. Yeah, please. So that we don't waste time. I think the questions are coming. Yeah. You have any questions? Yeah, please. I don't know. Sorry, let me check. I'm trying to connect with. So Aruna, please, you can go ahead with your question. Yeah, Aruna, please go ahead with your question.
Okay. Good evening, sir. Hello. Am I audible? Hello. So my question is about getting free. I learned the skill of community manager. I have the intermediate knowledge of blockchain. I took the MIT course, and still the strategy I'm using to get Web3 just is the checking the project or checking the project CEO and the team to DM them. And so many times I don't even get the job. They block me, so I even get some restricted about some of my accounts.
Sorry, can you repeat that question? Is it a question or you?
No, it's question.
Okay, yeah.
To
So yeah, can you repeat it again?
okay, yes, I can. Getting Web3 jobs. So is there any strategy of getting it? I am a community manager and I learned the skill of community manager because I don't get any job about it. Is there any strategy I can use to get it? And I write content on my X pages.
Oh, what was your strategy prior before now?
Yeah.
What was your strategy prior before now?
Yeah, I start from learning trading, basic of blockchain.
Okay, so I don't know, Daniel, can you please mute yourself?
Hello?
Daniel, I don't know if you can do something. Yeah, Aruna, you can also mute so that it's echoing. Yeah, thank you. So in regards to strategy for a community manager, sincerely, the space at the moment is extremely saturated in terms of like community depth, right? But that doesn't mean that you won't get something out there, right? People cold DM people cold message people, which is normal. You know, at the time I still do a whole lot of cold DM meetings today, you know, for my startup today. So one is, how do you position yourself? How do you clean up your Twitter stuff? Do you have an account on LinkedIn? Then it's a number game. To be really, it's a number. It's like you're playing Bet Ninja. Okay, so it's a number game. So the higher the number of people you send message to, then the higher the tendency of them getting to reply you. Another thing people do that I've seen is that people offer free services. You know, say, oh, I'm going to like work with you guys for 3 months for free. I'll handle your community for you for free. A whole lot of people, trust me, if you send 40 emails or 40, or you could DM 40 people on LinkedIn, I don't like Twitter for code DMing, you know, but if you send 40 messages to people on LinkedIn and you have a solid LinkedIn profile, you don't look like a scammer, you know, have a nice profile and you have all of that, and you could DM 40 people, I'm 100%, and you tell them you want to work for free for 3 months, that you want to offer your time for free, a whole lot of them will jump for it. And then after like 3 months, if you offer good services, you can tell them you need a raise, you need a pay. You know, so that's something, that's the only advice I have here. I don't know if that answers your question, Aaron.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Would you cyber dude? Yeah.
Yeah, GM, nice. Nice teaching so far. Yeah, I think my question will be kind of similar to what Aruna asks, because I'm in my own space. I'm a brand ambassador, Web3 community manager in the Web2 space. I work as a CS and all. Now, where you posted a link, I mean, some websites whereby you can be applying for jobs and all. But which other means? But like I've been on a space before where they are like you have to do some research on getting projects that are just funded or they are just building. Then you pitch to them. Then that is where you can get in. So which recommended sites will you recommend everybody on this call on where to get jobs? Well, three to be specific.
So, so I'm not the kind of person that would say, oh, just check this. I don't know if you can make yourself better, like Apple. Yeah, I'm not the kind of person that would say, I don't know, Daniel, yeah, thank you. Right. So I'm not the kind of person that will say, okay, oh, yeah, if you go to this site, oh, 100% you're going to get a job. I think one of the best strategy I've seen people use is looking at companies that are just starting. So you go to places like maybe Crunchbase, and then look at all of their newly listed companies that have just recently received funding, and then just pitch to them. Most of the time, just companies that recently received funding, and just tell them that, hey, I want to work with you. Or if you go to places like LinkedIn and just search for blockchain companies, or Crunchbase or what they call their name should be the best one. They basically they basically talk about information about all of these companies. How many workers do they have? How much? When last did they raise? And all of that. And then if you hit them up, the tendency of you getting a reply from people who just recently received funds is also a very solid stuff. But apart from that, the general website, general Web3 platforms, there's this other Bitcoin platform. I might need to send a bunch of them that are personally used. But as I said, there are some that have not still gotten a job from. There's just a very few of them that have actually, I think more of the time that I've gotten a job is when I actually go to meet people and say, hey, I want to work with you. Many of the jobs that I've gotten, they did. In fact, as of the time that I worked with, what's this guy's name? They have a decentralized ride-sharing company called hey, what's this guy's name again? I've forgotten. I didn't work for them for 5 months. Yeah, Web3 based ride-sharing company, and they didn't ask that they needed a software engineer. In fact, when I spoke to the CEO, like, nah, I don't need a software engineer. I'm like, okay, yeah, I could still assist wherever you guys have there. And then he just, okay, if you feel you could do that, And then I started working with the guy. And then the guy was like, bro, man, if you ask if, you're the one that's going to handle a whole lot of this stuff here. Because, normally we used to give this to other guys like about to fix, but you seem like you know this better than us. And then, over time I started working. But they didn't want to raise the fund, and then I left. UberFare is also one that I worked with. Then Airbnb is also another one, so that I literally have to contact them to myself. They do like Airbnb, but like in a decentralized way too. So these are guys that these are stuff that we have done and that have worked for me. So yeah, so I think that's all for questions. I don't know if Alfred is here and then they can take over from here.
I'm here right now. So sorry, my network too earlier, right? So I know you've answered a lot of questions. One of the things that we are also currently cooking and building at EvolveHQ right now, aside from even offering Web3 training, is that we are currently also cooking and then looking to build a job board for local and international clients. We're currently talking to some stakeholders, some people in diaspora. What this means is that via EvolveHQ job board, you would be able to see a lot of Web3 opportunities there. Yes, we are currently talking to a lot of stakeholders, and once we have them on board, it's just for us to get the UI UX guy
and create something so where we can see a lot of job. And these guys will even be posting the job for free. So we are also looking to also close that gap because we know a lot of people, aside from Upwork, Fiverr, LinkedIn, Jobberman, Indeed, JobMag, and so many other platforms. What other platform do people leverage on to get international jobs? There are a lot of platforms to get Web3 jobs, but by the time you open them from this side of the world, Nigeria, Africa to be precise, it will not open. I've worked as a virtual assistant with somebody where we're trying to apply and look for a job for the person. I tried opening some sites. It was not opening until I used VPN. So what this means that there are some opportunities that are close to us. Even the job, they might not be looking for somebody out of Nigeria, but this guy was in Michigan and I was looking for a job for him from Nigeria as his virtual assistant. So the job was not even open to show to people in Nigeria, like it was blocked until I used VPN to access this job. So those are the gap we're also looking to be. So aside from even undergoing our Web3 trainings, and there are also other things we are also looking for, like that we are also currently positioning and I'm doing for you guys. So we have a Web3 trainings coming up on the 29th of this month, tagged Fundamental of Web3 and Practical Intensive. The goal is quite simple. It's aimed to equip you with in-depth understanding. I want to join my system right now so that I can share my screen and you can see what I'm talking about. So for people that are willing and ready to join the training, please check the chat section. There is a link that has been sent there. Yes, there is a detail that we said that from there you can join the WhatsApp group. So I'm joining right now. Present now. Yeah, present. Yeah, so this is what I'm presenting right now, what we're offering. You can, okay, no, you can still present because of the final word. So we have a fundamental of Web3 training. I started on the 29th of this month and run for 2 months rather, and it is 75,000 rand monthly. We are also offering Black Friday as discount. What this means that we'll be offering discount on this 75K monthly soon. Yes, we'll be offering discount on this. And this is a breakdown of the curriculum, from intro, blockchain technology, NFT, creation economy, and DAO, decentralized governance, infrastructure scaling solution, and a lot of things, a whole lot of things. At the end of the training, you would be able to, one, have an holistical knowledge about Web3. Number two, you would also be able to also define a more focused niche for yourself at the end, and a strictly hands-on practical intensive. And Mr. Jones was our lead trainer that will be on the section. So if there's something you're currently open to, check the chat section right now. There is a message that has been pinned there. Click on it and see you in the class group so we can have further conversation regards to this. So like I said, we are also currently cooking and looking to bridge the gap regards to opportunities in Web3. And this is something we are currently talking to a lot of stakeholders. And one of the unique thing about us is that on what we are doing is we are even saying if XYZ company in Canada is looking for somebody that can work as a data analyst in Web3, they can post it there themselves while we just approve it, meaning that recruiters can even post these jobs on our platform by themselves while we just approve it and you see it. So we have a massive KPI. The link is not clickable. The link is not clickable. I'm just going to drop my number so you can buzz me and send me a message on WhatsApp so we can have further conversation in regards to that. We need to go. Before we go, somebody has another question. Who would like to ask, please? I can see one hand is up. Please, can you go ahead with your question? I've dropped a message. My phone number is there. You can send me a message on WhatsApp now, please. Okay, we don't have any other question left. We don't have any other question left. Okay, that's great. Hello, can anyone hear me, please?
Yeah, we can hear you. I think it's Uju that
I don't know if
talking about.
you're going to get in regards to the recording. So for people that missed this section, we'll also come back because we have over 300 or 500 people that signed up for this section. So right now we have just 32. Yes. So we need to go right now. Mr. John, what's your parting word? What's that parting word you would like to leave us with? Please check the chat section and join today. What's the parting word before we call it a day?
Learn Web3.
Sorry, I didn't get that.
Learn Web3.
We'll learn Web3. Great. Learn Web3. And not just this, we'll also give you access to Chain Coop accounts, like a Web3 platform where you would have an account by default. You would have an account by default on Chain Coop platform if you sign up for this trading. What this means is that you're not just learning Web3, you're also exploring and leveraging a financial Web3 platform. So learn Web3. Thank you very much, everyone, and have a great evening. Cheers and bye. Bye. Thank you.